of the more nebulous, that's sort of tongue-in-cheek there,
Mm-hmm.
about all this. But that's the bottom line about malachite. All the other ones have a very specific relationship with where they're beaming through from.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's interesting. And now, you mentioned your public events. Now, your public event called Transmissions is where you have an audience and you work with the audience. You sit there in front of the audience or work with individuals. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Terrific. Thank you. Transmissions, I came up with that label because I wanted something to really broadcast what the idea of the evening is, and obviously I go into that altered state or trance, and the mission is to express or allow that which would merge through me that has a very specific expression to come to that group. And that's the interesting part about transmissions. I don't have a clue of who's going to come through or what's going to come through. Mm-hmm. I define still to be that clear and open vessel. So for a couple of hours, with anywhere from the most intimate group has been 2 or 3 people, the most expansive group been about 60 to 90 people over the years. Mm-hmm. And it comes through and whatever there can be anywhere from 2 to sometimes 3 or 4, and lately with a lot of non-terrestrial or extraterrestrial frequencies coming through, they will change so often. Sometimes you think you've started with one, and it comes up with there's 2 or 3 movements within all that, and then there's the other frequencies that have been coming through for years that show up as well. So it's usually designed for the group because of the consciousness that they bring or the reflection. It's always very interesting to me. I have a subtle memory, the frequency that's the most difficult to have any sort of lingering awareness of what's transpired, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Well, now this recording or this interview is being pre-recorded, and we've told the audience about that because you're traveling.
Yes.
But can you tell us a little bit about your travels? And I kind of wanted to go from your public events to your travels, because I know that you're going to be in California and you're going to be in other places. Can you just tell us where people might be able to find you or look for you in certain areas?
Absolutely. Well, actually, we're starting tomorrow. I fly out to the Northern California Walnut Creek area, where my host there is hosting a transmissions event and some private sessions, and that'll be this coming Tuesday evening and Wednesday evening. And bottom line is, on the website, visionaryguidance.com, on the tours page, that always tells where I'm going. And I've been very blessed, John, over these last 30 years. I really started going public and in a very large way in 1996 and 97, and 86 and 87. And I started traveling to all over the United States, and I go down to Australia and sometimes New Zealand, and I've been very blessed to go channel all over the place, Spain, Italy, and France, and England. I've been very blessed over the years, and this last fall, I had the 2012 fall tour, of course, kicking off with our event that we did on the high seas over there down in Mexico, and I went to Texas and the East Coast, Virginia, New York City, all over Pennsylvania, all back in there, and I go to Los Angeles, and I'm very in Northern California as well. So I've been very blessed to travel around, and I'll be getting the new calendar of events and where I'm going up here probably by the end of this year. What next year is going to look like? It's going to be an interesting year for sure. So,
sure. I wanted to ask you that, but before I did, I wanted to just kind of ask you to talk about a person's experience after they've opted into their spiritual journey, after you've kind of opened the door for them. What's next after a psychic reading or having a channeling experience or receiving some guidance? What about people developing their own gifts? Can you just talk just a little bit about that? Our time is kind of running short, but
right.
But if you could talk a little bit about that, that would be great.
the bottom line for me is it's always, it's wonderful, just like how I started and opened up. It's great to sit with a psychic. You get this warm, fuzzy feeling that someone else can relate or even understand your experience, so to speak. That's why people like yourself and myself, and everyone's intuitive and psychic. It just depends upon how they're going to use it and really frame it in their reality. You don't have to put out a shingle and say you're a psychic. You can still be that intuitive and very healing essence at your everyday job, wherever you are. But what always has concerned me is as someone steps into that awakened state, staying awake, as it's often, during these times especially, instead of going back to sleep, that's always the most difficult thing. You open up to your spiritual, for lack of a better word, uptake, and you have these extraordinary experiences. The buzzwords, again, in the metaphysical community, you meet your spirit guides, you get into that hierarchical awareness and relationship with the multidimensional reality, and all of a sudden life is just outrageous. It's like being in love. And then all of a sudden it changes, because so many times it's not that it becomes commonplace, but you've reached a threshold, and there's a space then where one has to go further. They have to dig deeper. They have to go through more of their own, get rid of personal belief systems and opt in deeper. So that's when I always invite people to, I don't care who they sit with or where they go, if they're drawn, that famous statement, as the student or disciple is ready, the teacher or the master shows up. So that applies no matter what. And,
so you think it's kind of infectious, or it's kind of it draws you to do more once you get exposed to it, and that brings me to my next question, which is, can you talk a little bit about traditional religion and the movement towards metaphysics? Because we're seeing that traditional churches are now starting to decline, but spirituality hasn't. In our field, it just seems that there's more and more people interested in the type of work that we do. What are your thoughts on that?
You're absolutely correct. Number one, I feel that spirituality has always been, and it has been and still is, the basis of all religion. I did study. I was an ordained minister and had a fellowship in Los Angeles in the mid-'80s. And after reading Bibles and looking at world religions and obviously looking at all that and reading about it and understanding the history that humankind has reiterated and scribed over these years, the bottom line is all religion says the same thing, connecting to a quote-unquote a higher power, or wanting to have some affiliation and awareness through ourselves. That's the one thing that I really feel the difference sometimes between original religions and spirituality is. Spirituality, you have the experience, an intimate experience with it. Sometimes in the religiousness of it, we are set to look outside of ourselves, place the icon, more importantly, outside instead of receiving it inside. And that's where I eventually realized that, when I was praying, and I had a relationship with Jesus the Christ, or whomever you want to label it, whatever frequency or entity or a thing it is, that relationship is something that subscribed within me. I wasn't praying to a cross. I wasn't praying to, I had an intimate experience. And that to me is the spirituality of it. That's to me is taking it beyond, because the bottom line, it's all great stories. They're beautiful stories. They're wonderful. They're intoxicating. But that's the bottom line for me, is that rather than living my life by the story or the profundity even of that story, I prefer to live with the reality of the chaos that we live in and embracing and finding a spirituality in every moment.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that's good. Well, now I'm going to move you a little bit further, because you had mentioned it just a little bit when we earlier in the interview about 2013.
Oh God.
What is your outlook for the future, specifically next year, 2013?
So, brief, obviously. Malachite started with a poem back in '06, and it was 2007, looking for heaven. 2008, the year of your fate. 2009, is this still mine? 2010, can you say when? 2011, still looking for heaven. 2012, the year to delve and delve deep. He stopped the poem after that, which kind of got my attention. But 2013, maybe he didn't have any more rhymes going there, but 2013, the bottom line is, I feel that just being an American, being in the United States, I feel that we're seeing our global reality shrink, meaning that now technology, everyone's got a smartphone just about, whatever country you're in, you've got some sort of technology in your hand, thus keeping us more connected. And the bottom line is connection. So I feel that 2013 will be a year of more intimate connection of people beyond all design, race, creed, color, gender. All those lines are getting blurred, and it's creating a lot of dissension, creating a lot of stress, creating a lot of fear, doubt, and concern in a lot of factions. Bottom line, though, is I really have faith in the experience of connection and our humanity, that we will be able to move through 2013 with even more grace. I feel it's going to be a really intense year again financially for I think that 2012 was just the year looking like it's bottoming out. I mean, we've already just a couple of days of storms. God bless those souls back east. But I mean, these are the kind of things that, people always want change to, earth changes to, shake it all up. Well, I think we're all relooking at that going, maybe we should do the changing, and hopefully the earth will just mirror that for us instead of leaving us devastated and trying to pick up the pieces and move along.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, a couple of other questions that I had. Now, I feel like you believe we're going to exist beyond December 21st, because I know our next guest and you will be having a conference on December 22nd. Right. And that's what I've been told.
Yes. Joy Kauf, Miracles of Joy. Right. Supposedly we're supposed to. So hopefully we'll all be able to tune in.
If we ascend, then we'll. I won't be there, but.
Yes. Well, you just tell me how it is, okay?
Okay. But one thing I wanted to ask you was, what would you say was the biggest lesson you learned from your work?
Oh, wow. The biggest lesson I've learned from the work. To be as present as I possibly can. Because there's something about when I'm in that altered state where my ego is not guarding or in the forefront of the experience, and the transfusion of the frequency merged reminds me that I am not this limited experience. I'm an unlimited entity, not unlike that what I channel, and all the framework, the body is just for my entertainment, and bottom line is to be as present as I possibly can no matter what's taking place. And the other thing I've really learned is that Malachite often states it, and I'll just share it with you and your listeners. I know nothing. I know nothing at all. It's sort of a Zen statement. It's a statement where just to really let go of what I think is happening and be present with what is happening, even though everything in my history or my belief system is screaming at me. The magic is to have faith in that moment and realize that we are always on our path. There's nothing that can sway us. So that's what I've learned, John.
Okay, well that's very nice. That's wonderful. Now we're gonna close the interview by asking you: is there a phone number people can call, or is there an email address, or how can people reach you?
When you said that, it's just like all of a sudden my mind thinks 1-800-UNIVERSE, right? No,
don't put that out there. They'll be calling that.
No. Just kidding. My true toll-free number is 800-514-9234. That's 800-514-9234. You can email me at visionary@visionaryguidance.net. You can find all this information on the contact page of my website, visionaryguidance.com. That's www.visionaryguidance.com.
Great. And you'll be back in North Texas in January, is that right?
Oh, right. I'm going to be doing the Galactic at-one-ment class with Joy over at Miracles of Joy. I think it's the first weekend in January, actually, and hopefully trotting off to places unknown that you have spurred through.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Well, hopefully we'll both be back here on EPIC Voyagers Radio, and we'll be able to do some readings together, and maybe you can do some readings for some of the listeners the next time we are able to be on the program, if we're invited back, of course.
Yeah.
But I know that you're traveling as this recording is being broadcast. But I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, because you're incredibly busy and incredibly popular at the places you go to. And so once again, thank you very much for being here and joining me as I am guest hosting EPIC Voyages Radio program this evening. So we'll be talking soon. So we'll be right back here on the EPIC Voyagers Radio program, and we'll have another guest in just a moment. So please stay with us. Bye-bye, Seon. Okay, well, that was Seon from Sedona, Arizona, and I'm sure you can tell he's quite the individual, quite the character, and he does a lot of really good work channeling, and the entities that he brings in are fascinating, and as you heard, we talked a little bit about extraterrestrials and how he's encountered them, and I know that I encounter them with my work. Sometimes people come to me and they openly admit that they were a reptilian or they were of another species from another world, and they simply are experimenting with this experience in a human body. And what Seon does is he basically allows other entities to work through him, and they give great advice. They give a lot of wisdom from another dimension, and that's always a wonderful thing. But I promised you that we would have a couple of other guests on our program today, and our next guest is a friend of mine and a person that does work with Seon as well. Joy Kauf owns a metaphysical store in the North Texas area, actually in Lewisville, Texas, and the name of the store is Miracles of Joy, and they have all different kinds of crystals, and they have workshops and psychic fairs and things like that. But one of the things that Joy gets involved in is galactic healing, and I believe Joy is with us. Joy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, John.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us tonight on EPIC Voyagers Radio. We appreciate that. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties here, but we have survived them with the wonderful work of Joe, our technician, our engineer. We appreciate all his work. But we're glad to have you too. We may need some of your galactic healing for some of our equipment.
Well, welcome to 2012.
Okay, yes. But I was hoping that you would tell the audience a little bit about galactic healing. And before you do, though, I do want to preface this by once again saying that all of these things are about energies from beyond the physical. And that's what makes it paranormal, because it makes it special. And it's something that is unexplainable to possibly some of the more rational ways of thinking, maybe science, and so if Joy can tell us a little bit about galactic healing, how she got into it, and exactly what it is, that would be great. So Joy, I'm going to turn things over to you for a bit and ask you a little bit about yourself, how you got into metaphysics, and then a couple of other questions. And so I'd like to just go ahead and let you turn things over to you.
Okay. I have to tell you that galactic healing is my passion. I have studied all kinds of energy healing modalities. I've studied Reiki energy healing as well as Theta. But when when Galactic came into my life, it came into my life through a wonderful author by the name of Dr. Shelley Kaeahr. And she is the founder of Galactic Healing. And when she came into the store and wanted to have me become the certified teacher in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, from the very first time that I saw it, I knew this was it. This is what I was put on this planet to connect with. What I like about Galactic Healing, or my passion for it, is Galactic Healing heals on 3 levels. It heals on a shamanic frequency, the angelic frequency, and a sacred geometry frequency. And to me, it is bringing heaven and earth together. The shamanic is earth, the angelic is heaven, and the last level, the sacred geometry, is the I am that I am. And I've had many healers over my, I'm going to say since I've been teaching it, wanted me to change the name from Galactic Healing to something that was more, I would say, more what they considered spiritual. And from my perspective is humanity needs to get over themselves. We're a bigger player in a bigger universe that exists out there. So it's time for us to realize that we're all part of this great oneness that is coming to our planet at this particular time. So Galactic Healing is one of my passions. In fact, we've expanded it I'm going to say, over the past couple of years, where Sayon and I have merged Galactic Healing into another workshop called Galactic at One Mint. And he is an amazing channel, and I know his heart energy, and I love the healing. Well, it's all energy, whether it's psychic, channeling, or healing. It's all coming from the same source, and that source to me is the Creator, whoever that is, what any person believes it is. To me, it's about connecting to the energy that runs through everything that exists. So Galactic, we brought it together for one reason. It's a workshop. It's a weekend workshop where people actually do energy healing, but they also sit in the seat, and they learn how to make that connection. I believe that everyone has the ability to channel. It's just about opening up and getting into that space. And what is that space? We've all experienced it at some point in our life. When we have a heart-to-heart connection with someone and these words of wisdom pour out and we have no judgment of that individual in front of us, to me that's channeling, that's the connection. So it's just us, my passion is telling everyone or letting everyone know they have the ability to have this connection. And that's what Galactic Healing is to me, that's what channeling is to me. And that's just my passion.
Yeah, well, that's
sure
wonderful.
Everyone knows about it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. But you haven't always had this particular passion. But what you did was you seemed to open the door for this passion to come to you because you were in corporate America for many years and rather high up in corporate America, and you had a dream or you had an experience that got you to become more metaphysical.
I would have to say that while I was in corporate America, I had a couple of experiences. I mean, I've always been passionate about channeling since my early 20s. I wanted to know what we were on this planet to do. So I've been to many people that have channeled, that had that connection. I wanted to know, we're on this planet, what are we here to do spiritually? And I went on with my life and got one job after the other, and eventually worked my way up in corporate America to a vice president of strategic initiatives and quality assurance at a mortgage company, one of the top mortgage companies that are out there. And what ended up happening is I would have to say I had a wake-up call. And I had an issue that came up to me where I started to have these dreams. And in those dreams, I had literally heard someone tell me it was time for me to quit my job. I was woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning. It's time for you to quit your job. I had a dream when I was in my early 20s. I wanted to open up a metaphysical store and a spiritual center, but I wanted to do that when I was ready to retire. I wasn't really ready to retire at the age of 45 years old. And it's like, you have a mortgage, you have everything to do. It's just not time for me to quit my job. Well, push came to shove, and after getting this for a year, I said, you know what? I had a situation where I wasn't able to attend a class that I wanted to attend, a metaphysical class. It was actually a Reiki energy healing class because I'm in a job that you had to work 80 hours a week. And I decided that was it. I don't know why, but it's time for me to leave, and I'm going to leave at this particular point. And when I left, I'm like, okay, now what is it that I'm supposed to do? And I ended up walking into a store that was a metaphysical store, and within a matter of 3 weeks, I ended up buying it. And I already knew what the name was going to be, because when I was in my early 20s, I had an amazing teacher who came into my life, and he was a channel. And the information that he channeled was called Messages of Joy. And I told him that one day I was going to open up a metaphysical store, and I was going to name it Messages of Joy because my name was Joy, and because that's the information that he channeled.
Mm-hmm. Well, since you've opened your store, you renamed it Miracles of Joy, and I guess there's a reason for that, because you've seen so many people basically experience miracles from the work you do and the things that you've seen at your store. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct, and in fact, it was actually it's an energy that Seon channels by the name of Malachite. You know, he described my next building. You know, I've moved 3 times and have expanded 3 times in 5 years. And he said, the next building is this white building. It's going to have this cement floor, and you're going to call it Miracles of Joy.
Wow. Uh-huh. So that was Malachite. That was
actually Malachite that says next time you change it to Miracles of Joy. And I went, you know, when I found it and I walked into this building, it was just meant to be. I mean, when I walked into this building, it was like, this is it. This is the place that I'm meant to have. And I walked in and they had these cement floors, and I went, okay, we're going to call this one Miracles of Joy. But the truth is, you're absolutely right. Everyone from all walks of life that come into the store, everyone is seeking that connection to the Creator. What is that? And that connection to something more than what they have been experiencing, I want to say, in their day-to-day life. And you get a lot of folks. We've had several folks that come in that have had serious illnesses that have gone to and had energy healing. Some have had remarkable recoveries. Others, you know, have crossed over. But part of it is just being there for that person during that particular time and making that connection.
Well, that's. I mean, I've known you a long time, and I've seen your business continue to grow. And one other question about channeling: where do you think these entities come from? Do you think any are extraterrestrial, or do they, or what types of energies? And do you channel a specific energy?
Here's my take on channeling. My take on channeling is you can channel whatever it is that you choose to channel. You want to channel Archangel Michael, then channel Archangel Michael. From my perspective, if you want to channel, you know, this ET, channel this ET. Here's my take on the ETs or the extraterrestrials. I looked at it from one perspective, and I said, you know what? If it's all part of the one, if everything is part of the one, is there really one that's a higher vibration than another, or are they all part of the oneness? And I believe that they're all part of the oneness. They're just different frequencies of it, and it's really about what we connect with and what we harmonize with. And from my perspective,